How's it going, everyone? John Alba here, filling in for Conrad Thompson on DDP Snake Pit. I'm joined this week, as we are every week, by two bona fide Hall of Famers. Jake Roberts, how are you, sir?
Couldn't be better.
I love hearing
It'll be a big day for me.
This is going to be a big day. It's going to be a big day for this podcast.
It's
too.
all a big day.
That's right.
Every day's a big day.
And we got Diamond Dallas Page. How are you, DDP?
I'm great. And when I hear Jake say it's going to be a big day, you got to remember when we picked Jake up. If anybody's never seen the Resurrection, Jake the Snake, go on Amazon Prime and check it out. But Jake, when we first got back together and we're working on getting to the accountability cribs, which we ended up calling it, Jake didn't have dreams.
No.
Had nightmares. No. He stopped dreaming, and stopped seeing anything positive. So when I hear one of the closest people in the world to me say it's going to be a big day, we're talking about him and his lady and how great it is, and like just that he's living his best life.
Yeah. I'm living the life I never thought I'd have.
Right.
Ever. Because I'd done a lot of stuff to make sure it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. I always say Jake didn't burn bridges.
No.
He nuked them.
Yeah.
But because of his personality, his heart, and who he is as an icon and a human, people were so touched by his journey that they all wanted him to see so much better. And that's the one thing I want to put out there to people, because I know a lot of people who are dealing with the adversity of some sort of addiction listen to our show. Like, I know it. We get hit with it all the time. And as Jake said, it doesn't have to be like that. You just got to start getting some kind of confidence. Yeah. And one of the things that Jake would say when we would do interviews, because when I moved Jake in, I had just moved from LA. I've lived here for 10, 12 years, and I'd left to go to LA and come back. So I was just coming back. And when Jake moved in with me, it blew up. Like HBO Sports came and talked to us.
This is crazy.
Yahoo Sports, I think it's called Deadline. We had so many people interviewing us. And one of the things that he said about the DDPY program was that it gave him confidence. And I heard him say that over and over again. And one day after we were done, I go, dude, I can ask you a question. I said, what do you mean? And this happens all the time now, but Jake is the first one to make me see it. He said, what do you mean the program gives you confidence? And what did you say there?
Well, I said a lot of things there, man, but it just gives you hope, and it gives you a chance to dream again. And that's what I'd lost. And getting into the program, you start making your body change, and that just blows your mind. Because,
and that's what I remember you saying, like, well, when you made me do the stuff where I'm sitting in the chair, it's really
that's all I could do.
And then he was like, but then I get up and I start using the chair.
Yeah.
And I was getting better. And every time, and he goes, then he said, in that first 10 pounds I lost.
Yeah, that drove me crazy, man. I couldn't believe I could actually have a win.
Like a win. He said, I ain't had a win in 20 years.
I hadn't, man, because I was hooked up, cocaine and alcohol. And if I didn't have any coke, I wasn't moving. That's just where my mind got to, my body got to. And I didn't see myself ever getting out of that chair again.
The chair, and hard to get out of the chair.
Oh, God. And getting on the ground was a real treat. It blew his mind because I just took a bump.
Fell on his back. I go, let's just go to the ground. And he got down, and then he just
boom,
took a bump. I go, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're beat up, don't fall on the ground. He goes, you told me you wanted me to go to he was so pissed off at me. You told me you wanted me to go to the ground.
I got there the only way I could.
And that was one of the very few things we didn't film. That was just such a moment that I could see, like it just happened yesterday. So when my brother tells me, having a great day today, today's going to be a great day, like that, to me, that's the story you tell yourself. When
Yeah.
people hear me talk about positively unstoppable, the art of owning it, that 6-inch piece of real estate in between your ears, that voice in your brain, the story you tell yourself. And he had never heard anybody say that before. And, it changed. It changed.
For me, man, if I wake up and I start having a bad day, it's so easy to change.
So easy.
I just click it over and say, okay, let's turn the egg over then. If it's burnt on that side, I'll look at the other side. It's like looking at a piece of toast that maybe too burnt on one side. Scrape it off and eat it. You'll be all right. You do things to make it better immediately. Immediately. Don't sit there and look at it and say, I hate life. I hate life. No, you do something about it.
It's
Amen
not
to
brain
that.
surgery. Okay.
No.
What are we talking about today, John?
Amen to that. Well, I'm super grateful to have you guys here to chat about one of the greatest heels of today's generation. We know Jake did his work over the last 30 plus years. Well, MJF is tearing it up these days. And Maxwell Jacob Friedman has defined himself as someone that I think a lot of people look at as a potential all-timer in this industry. And we're going to talk a little bit about what he's accomplished so far in his young career, just 26 years old, and hopefully many more years to come. So let's start with both of you guys. Max has been in the industry since 2015. What were your first introductions to him?
First of all, Cody told me about him. When they were putting that crew together, that was, going to be, the future of what would be AEW. There were certain guys that Cody put his name on. And I remember him telling me about them. And, I just listened in the beginning, because, there's certain guys. Jake has it. I have it. Cody has it. We see people who have talent, maybe even before they do. Goldberg, I met Goldberg at a strip joint 5 years before he was ever Goldberg. Back when he was just Bill Goldberg playing for the Falcons. I introduced him to Eric Bishop. I was having such a good time with him, drinking and having a good time. I'm like, this guy's one of us. He needs to be one of us. Just certain times you see someone like that. And Cody, that's how he explained it. Again, this kid, he's got heat. He knows he knows how to use it. He knows how to turn it on. And the thing that I loved about him, and he was super respectful to me, but at the same time threw a little dig every once in a while.
Keep you awake.
Just to fuck with you, but if you got in his face, he got real respectful again.
Yeah.
But to watch his embryonic stages of, what he's been doing in the business, it's his, and I always talk about this, commitment, like his commitment. I heard Denzel Washington say this on Instagram, because I'm always going through Instagram looking for inspirational stuff. And he says, without commitment, there is no start. Without consistency, there is no finish. So powerful. And that's what MJF has. And got to hang with him right on up from the beginning, from parties over at Cody's house and getting to know him and understand him. And, give him just my opinions on different things, like don't believe your hype too much, because I could see the kid's going to be where he's going now. When I saw him come out on AEW a couple weeks ago and they had him in the throne chair, I literally thought to myself, and this is something, and I'm calling you out right now, Friedman, because I had called him just to touch base with him. And he always calls me back. Well, it took a while, but he did call me back. And I said, okay, so I'm jammed up right now. Let's talk a little bit later. And then he didn't call me back. So superstar, you owe me a phone call. But when I saw the throne, I thought, oh boy, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
When everybody's telling you how great you are.
Yeah.
It's really hard to hold it down.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the beginnings of him. We were on the Jericho cruise. This is one of my favorite moments. Was one of the comedians is doing a bit. Jericho's cruises are amazing.
Yeah.
If anyone's not been to one, Trust me, they're amazing. I got so much respect for that cat, man. You know, from his rock and roll to his podcast to his wrestling to his cruises, they're unbelievable. So you get there and he fills it up with every different kind of person. I mean, friggin' Fluffy was there.
Yeah.
Gabriel Iglesias, one of the top comedians in the world, was on the cruise one year. So this one comedian's up there and he's saying, you know, you've really, and this is right in the beginning with Max, and he go, you know, you've really got to respect MJF's commitment. First of all, I think so whoever the top sale, one of those autograph signings that he was at, not this one on the boat, but wherever he was at, I think Sting was like $150 or something.
Yeah.
Max charged 151.
Oh, that's so great.
And didn't care if anybody came over and asked for an autograph or not. He didn't expect anybody to, but they did. And he did make really good money. So this is a time where they're signing on the boat, right? And I don't think there's any paid because everything's part of the cruise.
Yeah.
So Max is doing it, you know, and being totally in character, you know, being Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And at some point, him and his buddy, the other comedian, they're drinking coffee and they finally get up to him. They go, Max, we love what you're doing. And he goes, yeah. And he grabs the coffee out of the guy's hand. He spits in it, gives it back to him, and he says, so what the fuck do you want?
Got to be careful there, buddy.
Jake, when you hear a story like that, that's old school, though.
Yeah, it's about, if it was friggin' back in your day, bro, or even back in my day, he might have got knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
You know, today, people love
they expect it from him.
Yeah, for him especially. Yeah. Like when we were doing the thing with when I was going to wrestle, you know, for that time in 2019, and my whole thing, and I told Cody, I said, I want to be able to come out there and say, if you'd have told me 19 years ago that DDP would have been back on TNT with a company called AEW, I'd have to say you're smoking crack, because there's no way that I would have believed that could happen. But it was happening. I wanted to be a part of that moment, wanted to help Code. I wanted to help Tony. I wanted to help with just give him another pop. And then we turned into that match with me and Max, and we had a lot of fun with that, man. Lexi, you know, one of my daughters, is now doing interviews up on, for AEW, which I'm so proud of her. It took a long time for them to really see, like, wow, she's got this, but she paid her dues and she got the spot. You worked with her a lot. You worked with her a lot. But what happened was came out, and now her dad, her real dad, I'm the bonus dad. He wanted to kill Max at one point because he came out with, I banged Dallas's daughter or something like that. Oh God.
Yeah.
Because Josh was like, I can't wait to talk to him.
But my goodness.
Again, his commitment. What do you think about him, Jake?
I think if he, 20 years ago, he got killed.
Yeah.
Nobody would have put up with any of that shit. But he's found a fine line. And I'm going to throw this out here, and he'll tell you real quick. I hate when you do that. It's like me doing Comic-Cons now. I flip people off when they take the picture. Now they're coming up and asking me to flip them off. And the only reason I did it was because I wanted at the end of the day say what a great job I had, because I made X amount of dollars flipping people off today.
I just want to interject. I hated when you did it in the beginning because we were trying to show the new Jake.
True.
But now there is a new Jake. So if Jake wants to give his double flip off, I don't care.
Because he's okay with it now.
Yeah, well, only because now everybody knows that, like, you're Uncle Jake.
I'm not going to shit in the floor now.
Right. You're not going to do something stupid. You're going to help people.
Stay there. But, he's found that fine line.
Yeah,
and he doesn't write it. He directs it. He directs that line. Now, here's where I'm going to say, this cat's not stupid. He's smart. He's not just a smart ass kid.
But he is a smart ass kid.
But he is a smart ass kid. But he's not just a smart ass kid. He's taken the time to learn this industry.
Yeah, he has.
He's taken the time to learn this industry. He knows what works, what doesn't work, and he knows how to finagle. He knows how to play the game behind the scenes too.
And that's something
that's huge.
And that's something that I would talk to him about early on.
He knows how to play that.
There was something that happened, which I won't say what it was, but to hear him tell the story, he said, and then Dallas grabbed me by the back of my neck like I was a puppy dog and pulled me back and go, what the fuck are you doing? Because when you're young like that, your mouth can make you. Yeah, it can make you, and it can bury you. It can bury you bad. And that was some of the things that I was, hoping to catch him early on, so that he wouldn't self-destruct. And he's walked the line. I haven't talked to him in a while, but it'll be happening as soon as we get done with this interview.
This last couple of weeks ago, I did an interview on his set, but he showed me appreciation and respect.
As he should.
When he asked me afterwards, was that what you wanted?
Oh, there you go.
See, he's smart. See, if you ask people what they want, and did you get your point across? Chances are the next time on his set, I'm gonna give it a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? He greased my palms, man. He made me feel good. That's smart. Back in the day, we would work for WWF on a TV day. The stars got $50 for wrestling 3 times.
Sheesh.
And we paid for our own hotel and our own rental car. So we lost money. But they would give us that $50 at the beginning of the night. Now, I was smart because I got this from Piper. Piper would take that $50 and go to his first match and slide it to that guy who's making $500, because the guys that got beat up made $500. What did that $50 mean to Piper? Nothing.
Right.
What did it mean to that guy? Jesus Christ, this superstar gave me the only $50 he's making for the day. He gave it to me and told me to go out and buy some beer and have a good time. So what does that guy go out and do for you?
Flip and flop all over.
He'll fly. Now,
hard.
Here's the one I learned from Piper. He tells the guy, whatever you do, don't tell anybody else I gave you that 50. Because I don't have any more cash on me. You think that guy's going to tell anybody? Of course he is.
Of course.
But they're going to go out and fly too now, because they know next time maybe Piper give me that 50.
I'm so glad you brought up the name Roddy Piper, though. I feel like Roddy Piper is a name that a lot of people compare MJF to.
Sure.
Do you guys see comparisons, and how so?
Absolutely. Because he rants on you, man. He gets in your face. He throws shit at you quick and fast.
And Roddy, you want to talk about commitment?
Oh, Piper.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
we got to do a show just on him, because oh my God! I mean, that guy. I mean, I was so lucky to get to know him, as my career was exploding, and he helped give me the rub a couple of times. But where I really bonded with him was later, and he loved me. After what he saw me and you did. Yeah. Like he loved me. I love that guy, boy. Yeah, he was so sad he's gone.
Damn right.
Then you can even say MJF's name in the same breath as Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest compliment you can get. So, and the level of commitment on both sides, because you can watch Roddy from what he did in Portland to what he did at Georgia Championship Wrestling, to what he did in the WWF, when he did
In Atlantic.
doesn't matter where it was. That cat was coming on like he owned the place.
Yeah, he pushed all the chairs out and walked right down the middle.
You got to be a double tough son of a bitch
Yeah.
just to do that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get some heat. But I remember Flair talking about how much he loved Piper and loved working with him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everybody like, came up with and knew. But, back to MJF, he, being able to go out there and have that match that we did, the 6-man, was so much fun. And the build up to it, I had a bunch of fun with everybody involved, but knowing that was just giving him a little step up, and being just part of that rise. It's, he's just starting out. Have you ever seen when he was on Rosie O'Donnell?
No.
It's
Okay.
amazing.
No,
Amazing.
we're gonna put it in right here.
If you don't become an opera singer when you grow up, what are you going to be besides an opera singer?
Well, I'm gonna be a opera singer and a wrestler.
A wrestler? Who's your favorite wrestler?
Goldberg and The Rock.
Goldberg and The Rock. You know, there really hasn't been an opera singing wrestler yet. That could be your whole shtick. You could say, I'm going to throw you over the rope. Something like that, you know? You know what I like best about the tape you sent in?
Yeah.
That you sang that song, You Want My Sunshine, 14 times in a row. You just didn't feel like you got it right? Is that what it was, Max?
Yeah.
You just kept going, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What are you looking at over there?
Nothing.
Nothing? Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Yeah. Are you looking for a surprise? You think I have a surprise for you? Do you ever watch this show?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we give people surprises, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that you wanted these. Shrek ears?
Yep.
From the Kids' Choice Awards? There you go, dude. May 18th, that movie opens. Also, what about this? You know what this is?
What?
The New York World Wrestling Federation has a restaurant here.
I like that.
Yeah, you're gonna get to wear this, and you're gonna get to go have lunch there at the WWF restaurant. How about that? Max?
What?
It's been really nice having you on my show.
Thanks.
You want to sing us out to commercial?
What?
You want to sing us out to commercial?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sing, you mean sing it?
Sure, sing it.
Sing it right now?
Yeah, what now?
2 times or?
Yeah, 2 times.
You're my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Max Friedman! Excellent job, buddy.
But you get to the end of that thing, and this kid who just said to Rosie, she brought him on for being an opera singer, right?
He's 5 years old, by the way, at this point.
He's 5. He's 5. And at the end of the show, so is this what you're gonna do? You're gonna be an opera singer when you're done. And his voice is really good. You've heard him sing. But back then he's a little kid, he had a little squeaky voice, but he's got the balls to sing it out. And at the end he goes, yep, I'm gonna be an opera singer and a wrestler. That's when you talk about the story you tell yourself.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying before he was 5. So that's
Put
what
the work in.
you put the work in, you put the commitment in, you put the discipline in, and there's got to be in the beginning. And I think he also loves being that bad guy.
Oh,
He
yeah.
loves being that naughty boy.
Yeah, he loves to talk shit.
I think Max is a student of the game, right? And he came from great trainers in Pat Buck and Brian Myers, former Kurt Hawkins out in Creative Pro over there
Great
on Long
guy.
Island. They do great work there. And now Pat Buck's in AEW as well, doing some producing work. So you get some good training under your feet. And then you come in, and if you're a wrestling fan, you study people, and it shows, those little things show through your work. And Jake, your promos were so deliberate and intense, but his promo style is so unique to himself, but you can see he's drawing elements from different people. Whose work do you see in his work?
Oh God. Well, I see Piper's one, obviously there, but to name off anybody else, he's creating his own niche.
Yeah, he really is.
He's not a Terry Funk. He's not a Ric Flair. He's not any of these guys. He's creating his own niche, man. And he's not a. I was going to say Gino Hernandez, because he does do a few things like Gino.
Yeah, he does. He does.
But that would be about it.
I don't even know if I'm sure he's watched him. He's one of those guys who's like me. He watched everything. Yeah. It's kind of like when my promos, when I was a manager, it was more like Captain Lou Albano and some classic Freddie Blassie, and so maybe throw some Dusty Rhodes in there and Jesse Ventura, and just was making this configuration. But as I got into being the actual wrestler promo, I wanted a little bit of everybody from Jake to Dusty to Savage to everybody, a little piece of them sprinkled in so you don't even really notice it.
It's the best way.
And just be myself.
Make it yourself.
And jack me up. And I look at MJF, he came in like this, and he was just going to stay committed the whole way through. And the stuff he did with Punk, and I think Punk is better today than he was when he was the man.
Agreed.
Up in WWF.
Agreed.
I think what he's done,
he's cooled it.
Yeah, but he's become that seasoned worker now. Now he's not the 20-something,
I think
30.
I think he also might feel safety. When you're with that other company, you got to be guns out and watching every which way to save your ass. And now he's in a place that he feels fucking pretty comfortable.
Well, the way he cuts that promo, and the work and it's storytelling that he's doing in the ring, which I think is great. But what those two guys did, I thought was magic, man.
Well, they had to be comfortable with each other to even do that.
Right. Yeah.
Because that had the earmarkings of trouble.
Yeah, they could have gone sideways.
Could have went sideways.
They could have gone sideways, but only with, I think, someone who didn't have the confidence. So you know what I mean? Like they were second guessing themselves.
Right.
When you can go all out at like what I was doing with Savage, when we were going back and forth, I mean, we were just in it. You couldn't. We started.
But you knew it was yours.
Yeah, right, man. But I was having so much fun with it, and stuff he didn't tell me, and I didn't tell him, and they had pops out of each other. You know what I mean? But I watched when you go 18, 20 minutes, like those cats were doing, like that shit's on, man.
Oh yeah, you're having fun. You're having fun.
Yeah, you're having fun.
You don't do 20 minutes if you're miserable.
And that was a feud that was really based on being a student of the game. Max had to be familiar with the impact that Punk made in Ring of Honor, what he did in WWE, and they leaned into that for the story that they were telling. And I thought that was great. And DDP, the reality is, he gave CM Punk his first loss in AEW. And it was with the help of someone that we're going to talk about in a few minutes in Wardlow. But but what a rub that is for someone to hand someone like CM Punk his first loss in a promotion, and after
and in your hometown.
Yes,
that was bigger to me than it was the first loss.
Yeah, it was
in Chicago.
Everybody was calling the other way.
Yeah, it's like no way. Like he's doing the job. Oh. And that's when wrestling really works. And there are times where if you're not us, you don't know if those guys are shooting on each other or not. You know what I mean? And
sometimes we know they are.
but it's the blurring of the lines.
Yeah.
That's from the promos to the ring work. Like when you step out of it, things like I watch back, I would like when I first saw Jake work. Like I started trying to wrestle when I was 23, didn't work out for me. WrestleMania, I'm going to come back, after my knee gets better. And I get a chance to run my first little nightclub, a little rock and roll joint. And then the booze, the brawls, and the party took me in a different direction. And then when WrestleMania started happening, I was so mad at me for not paying my dues that I stopped watching wrestling. What grabbed me was flicking the channels one day. I've told the story before. Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse Ventura. I'm like, who is that guy with the crazy sunglasses and the do-rag and the, and the leather coat and that voice, that Ventura voice. I used to be able to do it. I can't do it anymore.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
I used to be able to do it. Cross does it really well.
Incredible.
Incredible. I caught him on a promo the other day, training somebody in the gym. It was magic. So great job, bro. But friggin' the first match out is Jake. And I'm like, who's this guy? And he's got the bag over his shoulder, and like, what's in the bag? And then I watch his work in the ring and the promo. I'm like, okay, I'm sucked back in. But to tell you how much I was sucked back in, I've already worked a couple of months. Maybe I worked twice a week for 2 or 3 months. That's all I've worked. That I hurt this knee, and I had 3 matches. I actually I'll pop it up right here when I friggin' worked in 1979.
Some black and white.
But it's not a video. It's a card. But my point is, I call my buddy Johnny Shipley, and I go, listen, I know it's a work. But have you seen that guy, Jake Snake Roberts? Like, is some of this shit real? Like, I can't see through his shit. Like, it looks so real. And he goes, stop being a mark. And I was like, okay. But I mean, when you can't see through someone's shit, and that's where I would get to at some point, and that was the best part.
Yeah.
When people don't know what's real and what's not. And, that's the magic. But I think his work in the ring is it's good. It's good. It's good work. He will be a great, great worker. He's 26. He's got a ways to go to get there. But working with this great talent, he keeps getting better and better and better.
He's getting the opportunity now to not only direct which way he's going, because he does influence a lot of these things, whether it be talking from this position or up in the rafters or up in a suite where he can really talk his garbage. He's learned how to.
Makes me laugh.
He's learned how to 3 or 4 of these promos in before he ever has the match. And he's so friggin' entertaining. Yeah. The boss man enjoys him doing it.
He's laughing. That's the best.
He's being entertained. You wouldn't put a guy up there that can't handle it. No. But every time he gets on a microphone, brother, he knocks it out of the friggin' park. And you don't do that by accident.
Yeah.
No, you don't. And Dallas, the story that you just said about, like, when you're talking about Jake, like, is it a work? Like, how much of it is a shoot? All this stuff. I got to work some indie shows with Max when he was just coming up, and I've talked to him in years since. And the amount of people that come up to me and say, is he really that guy? And I go, well, what do you think? And that, when you can blur that line, it's a credit to how talented you are. And you just said, Jake, like he'll wrestle 1 match every month and a half, 2 months, and he can get away with it. And also, by the way, he's a really good professional wrestler too.
Yeah. And guess what? Each one's on a pay-per-view. So what the hell? He's doing it smart.
Yeah. What do you think of the dog collar match between he and Punk? We talked about respecting pro wrestling history and being knowledgeable. Dog collar, that is such a throwback style of match. What do you guys make of that?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, anything that he does like that, and Punk too, they're both students of the game, and now you can go back and bring something back that's old, that's new. And the more guys go out there and sell and take some of the guys who do a lot of bumps, as they get older, they're going to do less bumps. I remember Jake used to say, I used to have 1,000 moves. Then I had 100.
Yeah.
Now I got 5.
Yeah, but I know when to do them.
And then more of the storyteller you become, not just on the mic, but in the ring. I love that, and I love the old school, and that's really like 70s, early 80s shit, and getting to partake in that's and be a student of the game from it, and really be able to take it and make it like you can go back in time, and we've got them the same way. And the great thing about, I think, since probably a little bit before Mania, because I've noticed that the WWE crowds are getting hotter and hotter. Like the fans are getting more and more involved. AEW, they already been there. Yeah. They've been there since jump. They're like an ECW crowd. So when you when you've got that crowd, and we're talking about dog collar match, but like they're like, it's again, what's old is new, and the commitment that you put into that is what takes it to the next level. And again, the crowd is everything.
Yeah, well, Max's facial expression is money in the bank.
Yeah, you don't have to say anything.
So he can sell in that ring without ever having to take a bump. He can show you fear. He can show you anger. He can show you anything you want, man. But he's going to show it at such a level that everybody in the damn building can see it. And that's key, man, to be his type of heel. His type of heel's got to be something everybody can see.
And what I liked where he's getting ready with this from Wardlow. Wardlow, by the way, that's another guy. When he first got there, I met him down at Nightmare Factory. Great kid. And Cody, he said, this guy's going to be one of the big spade faces in the business. Like, that's what he said. No one even knows who he is yet. He's not Wardlow yet. And I took an interest in Mike. I like him. He's good people. He really has a sixth sense for the business as well. And where he proved it to me was when he went out and did that match with Cody. And when Cody went up to the top of the cage and did the moonsault off the top with a kid who's not been working a year. Like,
that's life or death, man.
And he's going to be there.
That's trust.
Wow, man. Like, that's where he had totally got elevated for me. And I loved everything that him and Max did through this entire journey. I especially loved that how he was bringing guys in, how Max, the old school heel, getting ready. Well, here's who you're going to go through next.
Bounty hunters.
Yeah, right. Wardlow, man, this kid, let's flip it over to him now. I mean, he's really got something. And this is going to be a big test going into this pay-per-view for those two.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've been freaking crack since the get.
Yeah.
And now it's been, this is the first, like a lot of stuff gets
There's not going to be anybody out there to guide them. They're going to have to guide each other.
That's what I'm saying, man. And I know they will have put the work in prior to it.
Yeah, because I think they're smart enough to talk.
There's no way I will miss that match because, I want to see what, I want to see what they've come up with, because when you've got a time, like when I was doing the NWO thing and it was supposed to happen, I was supposed to turn on Kevin Scott in 3 weeks. Well, they push it off because the bookers really didn't believe in me and that I was going to be able to carry it. So they pushed it off. They pushed off 10 weeks, which I was so mad at the time. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it lengthened this storyline of me and the NWO. And there's nothing hot shot about this.
This is a 3-year story.
This is right.
Yeah.
This is a 3-year story accumulating, and this is the beginning of it. And now it's going to be really interesting. I don't even want to know the finish. And I used to tell Cody that all the time. He would talk to me when we talk about the match and blah, blah, blah. I go, don't tell me the finish. I want to watch it.
I want to feel it.
Yeah, I want to feel it. I want to listen.
Or hear it.
I want to hear the crowd.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I want to hear what are they buying. So I think coming up to this pay-per-view, you know, I don't care what else is on the card, not to take away from anybody else.
This is the one I want to watch.
That's the one that I'm tuning in for because I'm connected to it, but I'm also as a wrestling fan, I'm connected to it, and I want to know. I want to see what happens. I want to see who really brings the A game, who knows when to back off, and who knows when to come on, and you know how do they dance together. You know.
It's crazy. I've had multiple people in AEW use this analogy to me that Wardlow is like a real life James Bond, that he just has the swagger and the energy of, and like that cool, calm collectiveness of a James Bond type. And I think that dynamic with Max, as it's developed over time, it'll make magic. And Wardlow is a huge wrestling fan too. Like he's not someone that was just brought in because of his body. He respects the industry, and I think they're going to make magic together.
You can tell that by the way he takes his straps off whenever he's trying to make that comeback, man.
Yeah. And,
you know, and he's a super good looking dude.
God.
And what is the real it factor, especially when it comes to a baby face? Girls want to be with him, and guys want to drink with him. You know what I mean? That's the magic.
Yeah.
You know, you look at guys like Magnum.
Yeah.
You know, Magnum TA. Back when he was in, you know, when he was working, man, women worshiped this man. And every guy wanted to drink with him. Kevin Nash. Every woman wants that sumbitch, you know, and guys all want to party with him. You know, that's like the supreme it factor. And that's Wardlow's got that, you know.
Yeah, he does. He looks great in a suit too, and that's half the battle as well. You gotta strut that stuff out there.
He knows how to dress.
I want to ask you guys this because Roddy Piper is a name that we brought up multiple times here. Roddy Piper was never a world champion in a major company, and MJF is the type that we draw the comparisons. Does a guy like MJF ever have to be a world champion?
No,
I don't think he has to be. But I think
it would help.
Yeah, but I think he should be.
Yeah.
You know, I think it would be very Ric Flair-esque.
Yes.
You know, to you know, and Nate did it so well, you know, when it came to having it and presenting it and making it really like this is the shit, you know?
And I think MJF could do that too.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
He could make you want to kill the champion. And that's a good thing. Because that's money in the bank.
Right.
He's never held a championship in AEW, which is amazing to think about given his track record.
Well, he's got the ring.
But I was about to say, but he took a ring that could have just been used as a prop for any other person, and he made it something. He made it into something that was important. You got to be part of that whole process, Dallas. What'd you think of that?
You know, I love the whole idea, you know, and how it set it all up. And I can go back and just watch. I enjoy watching that promo that we did back and forth. And I mean, the timing that he had, you know, back then. And it only gets better with repetition. You know, I was happy as hell that I could come back 19 years later, and that would be like one of the things I'd be remembered for. And then, of course, Cody told me, you know, then Dustin's going to do his roll off the apron and QT's going to do his flip over the top. And then you're going to come off the top rope. And this is behind the scenes now. One of the things I do as a diamond cutter, you go to clothesline me, I duck it, I hook it, and I pull you in. Well, for some reason, when we shot it 2 weeks before the angle, which would set up the match, Maxie, for some reason, he just couldn't get the timing of it. So I'm in the back and I'm getting ready to go out and do this. And so I'm not warmed up. And Jake will tell you, like, I'm on the mat for an hour plus before I ever go near that ring.
He
Especially,
blows me up by watching.
especially when I'm 2 months from 64 years young. Okay. I'm all over the mat, but I hadn't really warmed up. And I started to show Max and I would pull him and I pull him. And I just felt a little pull there. And then when I went out there, of course, the guys I'm going to hit with the cutter, is friggin' Andy, the big boy, the butcher. And the butcher's 300 plus pounds. So when he comes through with that clothesline, he's coming. And I go to block it and turn it. And now I feel I don't know, not a tear, but a monster strain. And I feel like someone shot me like on my lat. And then I go up and I hit the other one. So now I'm going to see my doc. I've done the massage therapy. I've done the voodoo doctor, Dr. West, turning it on. It's feeling a little bit better. And I'm like, listen, Coach, we need to go down. I ain't been in the ring in 20 years. Diamond cutters, I could hit that when I'm 80. All right. I don't want to because it wears every time on my shoulder and my back, every time, but my shoulder for sure. And I'm trying not to get them replaced. That's my goal. So bottom line is we're down there and we're getting ready to do this and just talking about it. And the funny part is Andy has a band. I believe it's called Every Day I Die. Is that what it's called?
Every Time I Die, I believe.
Every Time I Die. Every Time I Die. And Nathan, who works for us here at the DDP Yoga Performance Center, is also, he does a lot of band, videos, movies. He did the music video, Judas for Jericho, which has 50 million views. We filmed it right here. So Nathan calls me up. This is years ago. So this is like 2016 or 17. And he says, listen, I've got my buddy in town, my favorite guitarist. Every Time I Die, his band, he's a huge fan. You're his inspiration because he started working at 35 or something like that, 34 or something. And could he come over and meet you? And I'm like, absolutely. So he comes over, I show him my whole downstairs, which is like a war room with all the pictures of all of us and everything. So now I don't figure out that the band guy is the butcher because I know that guy worked indies. I ain't seen him but once. So when I'm climbing the ropes, all right, and down at the what's it called, Nightmare Factory, it's not tight ropes. They're like hoses that are wrapped in cable, so they spin. Ooh. So I'm putting my hands up here, and I'm putting my one foot up on the top rope, which hasn't been there in eons, okay? And I can't even get the other foot on the top rope because of the lat pull. Yeah. It's not feeling it. And Cody comes up, he goes, hey, don't worry about these ropes. They're solid as hell. When you get to the show, it's going to be good. So don't even go up there right now. And Andy goes to me, again, don't know it's Andy. I don't know it's Every Time I Die. And he goes, D, don't worry about it. I got you. He's 300 pounds. There's going to be 3 or 4 of them down there anyway, but anything could happen. I could overshoot him. I could tear my ACL. I could break my neck.
The air conditioner could catch him and blow him off.
Right. Anything could happen. But I'm not letting that in my head. I'm trying to block it out. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And that's the kind of stuff I do. It's going to be amazing. I'll blow people away. That's the only voice I allow in. So now we get there. I'm feeling pretty good. My future wife's with me, Paige, she's with me. We're in Miami. I could never have done this during COVID. There is no way without having the crowd to feed off. And then when they let me come in there and blow that comeback, and MJF is right there on time, hitting it, friggin' then the flip, then QT does the flip, and then I go up. It was Bunny, who I love.
Oh, I love that girl.
She comes in and I just pie face her. And I almost got in trouble for it. I didn't know you're not supposed to do that. It's wrestling. But Bunny sold it so huge. And I go to go up, and I just go, and I'm going for it. And I did the dive. And if you watch me, you'll see my head go past them and bounce on the cement. It bounces, but I never felt it because Andy was there. And right before I went out there, we're going out to film my entrance on the way in, and Nathan's going, "This is going to be amazing. I can't believe I'm getting to see my favorite band performer ever and my favorite wrestler growing up as a kid." I look at him, I go, "Your favorite band guy?" He goes, "Yeah, Andy. From Every Time I Die." I go, "Are you shitting me?" I go, "I didn't put that together." So right before I walked out there, I walk up and I go, "Andy, I didn't put together Every Time I Die." He goes, "I didn't think you did."
But it's a shame they broke up.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I heard that. But you know what? He's got a great life. He's living the second part of his
man.
dream, a la Jericho. You know, the band and
And he's lost about 50 pounds.
he looks good.
It's
Oh,
trimmed
dude.
down,
He,
man.
he looks good. He looks
His
good,
look
man.
is incredible, man. All his presentation.
Him
I love it.
and the Blade too. I love
Yeah.
both those guys, man.
I do too, man.
They're a great tag team. It was great having Max with them early on, you know, with what they did, especially because that was so green, you know, and it worked. It worked really well. So, you know, coming into this pay-per-view, I'm really looking to see how Wardlow goes to the next level. You know, he proved a lot to me with that match that he did with Cody. I guess it was 2 years ago now, you know, probably a year and a half at least. But, you know, I really, I think that him and Max are going to have a hell of a show. I think the whole pay-per-view card, top to bottom, looks really good. But, you know, the main one I'm tuning in for is to see what this could be you know, one of those dusty roads, and I don't mean to say in characters, but funk, the things that lasted forever, Dusty and Flair, you know, one of those feuds that lasted 20 years, you know. Who would you say your longest feud was with, Jake?
Oh, well, cocaine. I did the job.
Oh my God. That's the brilliance of Jake Roberts.
Incredible
That's
timing.
the quickness, very, you know, Scott Hall had it too. Scott can say nothing, and you know, and just come up with something that was genius, you know.
DiBiase.
DiBiase, another one, yes. Well, we got to talk about DiBiase too coming up.
And
that son of a bitch. You know, there's another guy who's another really, to me, underrated friggin' Hall of Famer, because Ted DiBiase is up here.
yeah.
Ted DiBiase was one of the greatest workers and mic men on the planet.
And I think
on the
that's
planet.
someone that Max has probably drawn some influence from too, quite frankly, when you watch a lot of his work. I want to kind of wrap things up here on Max. What is his potential in this industry? What do you think Max is capable of cementing himself of once his days in the ring are over?
I can see Max being a director in years to come, or even owner, because I think he's got that much underneath the cap. This kid is learning behind the scenes stuff. He's learning camera stuff. And he's pitching all. He's going to be world champion, I think.
Yeah, and I also think that he will have an acting career.
Yeah.
You know, that will be, because he's, first of all, he's the perfect size for an actor. He's like 5'9" or 5'10".
Yeah.
You know, he's a perfect size. And it don't matter what size he is in that ring, because he's like Randy Savage. He wasn't no bigger than 5'11", but the way he moved, he was 6'4", you know, and Max don't matter. Because again, like any great heel, stick that big man. And now that Wardlow will be moving on, it'll be the next spot. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, you know. But I think his potential is limitless.
Yeah.
As long, listen, Max, as long as your feet are continually planted on the ground, it is
Not in your mouth.
it is so important.
Yeah.
You know, and so many guys believe, and it's hard not to believe. One of the things that I always tell people, you know, starting wrestling at 35, it was the hardest thing physically.
Yeah.
I did, but mentally, starting at 35, I was much smarter at 35 than I ever was at 25. And it really helped me as I went through things, figuring out, okay, I'm just going to make Diamond Dallas Page a nightclub. How would I promote a nightclub? What's the most overt thing I have? Nightclub, I've got pretty women and booze. Here, I've got this and the diamond cutter. So I just talk about this. That's all that mattered. And like when they let me win the Jabroni Bowl, when I won the friggin' robe, thank God for friggin' the greatest guy ever, friggin' Barbarian, who we went tat for tat for at the end, and he put me over with my finish at the end. It was a huge thing for me, but all the top guys when Sting won were there. All the top guys when Dusty won were there. When I won the Battle Ball ring, it was me and Barb. Bobby Eaton was at the end of his career. Scotty Norton, Ice Train, Rocco Rock, Johnny Grunge. This is a Battle Bowl ring.
Yeah.
And what I did was I said, when it's all said and done, there can only be one. Flair, the Road Warriors, Luger, Sting, they all started out, and they did, in tag teams and got eliminated until it came down to when there was one guy. And I could talk about it being a heel as if all those guys were in there with me, because no one watched that pay-per-view. Didn't matter. I was the Battle Bowl champion.
That's right.
So, having that type of mentality of what you do with what you have, I wouldn't have had it at 25. I wouldn't have been able to do that. And now that kid, Max, is an old school cat. And
he's educated, man.
Yeah, and he's got great parents too.
Yeah.
I met his dad. He's a great guy. Bottom line is, kid's got limitless potential. Max, keep your feet on the ground.
Don't blow it, Max.
Don't blow it.
Because if you do, we told you so.
He ain't gonna.
No, he's not.
He ain't gonna.
No way.
His parents are great. They're super good people, and they hate him just as much as the fans do. So it's
They
great.
They do, especially his
and
dad.
rightfully so.
I think Max is going to be an all-time talent in this industry. I really do, and he's an outstanding professional wrestler and character, unrivaled. So kudos to him, and I really appreciate your guys' insight on him on this week's DDP Snake Pit. Putting a bow tie on things, guys. Cameo.com. If you want to get a message from DDP, Jake the Snake Roberts, that's the place to do it. And DDP, you're awfully busy these days. You mentioned it last week, but it seems like you're trying to get overseas at some point this year as well, right?
Yeah, working on that tour for the UK. So let all my people over there know that, get on the list. Go to ddpyoga.com, or I should say the mailing list at ddpyoga.com or diamonddalspage.com. They both work, and we will make sure we let you know when we're coming. And me and Paige, we're going to do a whole tour. We're going to do Scotland. We're going to do London, Birmingham, Manchester. We'll probably do 5 or 6 different tour area stops. And then we're going to see that beautiful country, because I've been watching, and I would never thought I would say this in a million years, but I have been hooked on Downton Abbey, which is one of the best shows I have ever seen. The acting is flawless. The storylines are great. It's a classy soap opera. It's a really classy, and I can't wait to go to Downton to see the Abbey. So see you blokes next week.
Oh my God.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you guys, and we'll see you all next week here on DDP Snake Pit.
Come get some.